We spend most of our lives just seeing the surface of things, right? We see the finished product, we feel the final emotion, we experience time as this smooth flowing river. But what if you could see the source code? What if you could actually look under the hood and see the raw data of reality as it's being built, moment by moment? And that's a genuine question, because it turns out our ordinary way of seeing things is, well, surprisingly limited. Our brain is constantly piecing things together for us, smoothing over all the gaps, which means we can end up being fooled by the very reality we think we know inside and out. Okay, so let's dive right into this. We're going to decode an ancient word from the Pali language that points to a powerful tool for seeing in a totally different way. And just to be clear, this isn't about belief or religion. For our purposes today, we're looking at this purely as a cognitive function, a mode of analysis. So based on the source material, here's a really fresh, functional way to think about it. Vipassana is not just about passive mindfulness or kind of zoning out. No, it's an active, high-resolution analytical process. It's the ability to take any experience, any at all, and see its underlying mechanics as they're happening, in real time. What's really cool is that the word itself is like an instruction manual. The first part, V, is a prefix that means through, or in a special way, or even to pierce. The second part, Vipassana, means to see. So you put them together and you literally get to see through something, a special piercing kind of seeing. So here's the bottom line. Vipassana is like having this incredible precision tool that lets you see past the world's polished user interface. Instead of just seeing the finished app on your phone, you're looking directly at the lines of code, the data packets that are actually creating that app from one moment to the next. To make this super concrete, the source gives us 4 brilliant analogies from our modern world. And these are just clever little comparisons. Each one shows us a different angle of how this piercing sight actually works. Let's jump into the first one and see how this all builds up. First up, the inspector tool. I want you to think about any really beautiful, sleek website you've ever seen. You just see this elegant design, seamless images, perfect text. But what's really going on there? Well, if you've ever messed around with web design, you know this little trick. You right-click, you hit inspect, and bam, suddenly that gorgeous image is revealed to be just a flurry of HTML and CSS code. You realize the image isn't one solid thing, it's a temporary illusion built from lines of code that are constantly flickering in and out of existence. Vipassana is that inspector tool for your reality. All right, for our second lens, let's picture a balloon popping. To our normal eyes, it's just a single event, right? It's just bang, all at once. But is that the whole story? Not even close. Because a high-speed camera tells a totally different story. It shows you the whole sequence. The needle pierces the skin, the rubber begins to tear, the air rushes out. It's a process. In exactly the same way, Vipassana acts like a high-speed camera for our emotions. That solid block you call anger is revealed to be a lightning-fast process. There's a sensory contact, which leads to a feeling, which triggers a reaction. It deconstructs the whole event. Okay, on to analogy number 3, the transparent clock. When we look at a regular clock, we just see the hands moving smoothly, almost magically. It seems like one single thing called time. But we all know that smooth movement is an illusion. A transparent clock shows you the truth. It's not one thing. It's this complex, beautiful system of dozens of little interlocking gears, all working together to create that illusion of smooth motion. Well, Vipassana does the exact same thing for our sense of self. Instead of seeing a fixed, solid me, it reveals a dynamic process of interlocking parts, your body, feelings, perceptions, thoughts, all constantly interacting. And now for our final lens, which is a really powerful one. Picture yourself in a dark movie theater. You are completely lost in the story, the smooth, continuous experience unfolding on the screen. It feels totally real, totally fluid, and unbroken. But Vipassana is like getting up and walking into the projection booth. You look at the projector, and you see that the continuous movie of your life is actually an illusion. It's just being created by thousands of individual, static frames of consciousness appearing and vanishing, one after another at an incredible speed. So you're probably asking, okay, that's cool, but why does it matter? Why deconstruct everything? Well, it's simple. Once you understand exactly how a magic trick is performed, the trick loses its power over you. You're not fooled by the illusion anymore, and that changes everything. Here's how that process works. First, we perceive something as solid and desirable. Then, this deep analysis breaks it down into its shifty, impermanent parts. That leads to the insight that there's no solid thing there to actually grab onto. And when you see that, the clinging, the attachment, just naturally falls away. This isn't just an abstract idea. It's the practical difference between being compulsively reactive and having the freedom to actually choose your response.
And this is absolutely crucial. This is not about using willpower, gritting your teeth, and forcing yourself not to want things. It's about seeing their nature so clearly, so directly, that the compulsive urge to grab onto them just runs out of fuel. The stress of constantly wanting and avoiding starts to dissolve when you see the transient, impersonal nature of it all. So what's the big takeaway here? Is that Vipassana, when you look at it through this functional lens, isn't just some dusty, abstract concept. It's presented as an incredibly powerful and practical tool for achieving real cognitive clarity.
The source material wraps this all up with a really powerful metaphor. It's a tool, yes, but it's like a sword of wisdom. And it's designed for one single purpose, to cut through the illusions of permanence and solid selfhood that are said to be the root cause of so much of our stress and suffering. And that leaves us with one final question to really chew on. If you had this tool, this ability to see the source code behind any experience you have, an emotion, a thought, anything, what's the very first illusion you'd want to see through?